Shadia, thanks very much indeed for the call. I wanted to ask you something up front, partly because you're a woman, but also because you're an acute observer of these things. Was Liz Truss seeking to mimic Margaret Thatcher on her brief and ill-starred visit to Moscow?
Oh, she was definitely giving her best Margaret impression. Certainly, it did feel like that, didn't it?
Yeah.
Also, interestingly, looking into that in slightly more detail, she appears a lot on the government's official photographs page. So I think she's got a bit of a penchant for a camera, really, and she's definitely doing a bit of posing in her best Thatcherite position there, definitely.
And Boris should be a bit anxious about that, shouldn't he? Because it seems to me she's limbering up for a leadership challenge.
Yeah, it certainly seems like she's gearing up for that, going off to Moscow, trying to do her best diplomatic mission. She's trying to put herself in the forefront of politics, left, right and centre. Every single day she's in the media now, and it certainly feels like when a leadership contest happens, I think she'll be one of those that puts her names right into the hat.
Now, not many people could stand up to Sergei Lavrov, the veteran foreign minister of Russia. He's been at the top for 33 years, and Liz Truss has been in her job for 5 months, but she clearly didn't even look at an atlas on the aeroplane journey. Indeed, she's been on quite a few, some of them very long aeroplane journeys. She hasn't been studying much about Russia and Ukraine before, as I say, the ill-starred encounter with Mr. Lavrov.
Oh, it was an absolute disaster, to be honest. She said she was going there to try and diffuse, have some sort of tactic of diplomacy, and from the very get-go accused Russia of aggression and said that Russia needs to prove it's not an aggressive state in this circumstance. I mean, talk about guilty until proven innocent. It should be the complete reverse. She absolutely did a disastrous job over there. And talking of her tactics, she went out there saying that Russia needs to stop these war of words, stop the war rhetoric, and she went out straight away with a war rhetoric herself.
Now, you issued the magic words there, stop the war. They've been in the news. Also, the Labour leader, Keir Starmer, accused those of us who want to stop the wars of effectively being enemy agents.
I mean, just from the very get-go, Keir Starmer is supposed to be the leader of the opposition. It seems that the only thing he's opposing is the left. And an attack on Stop the War Coalition was really quite shocking in some ways, not so shocking in others. I wasn't particularly surprised that he's attacking the left, even though he's supposed to be somewhat representing them. But an attack on Stop the War Coalition is really, really significant at this point when a war could be imminent. He's supposed to be trying to do everything to diffuse all of that and going against an organisation that is absolutely at the forefront of peace in the United Kingdom, organising about peace. And the only crime Stop the War Coalition is guilty of is trying to present a different narrative to the mainstream media. Instead of ratcheting up this war rhetoric, it's trying to look from a different lens, trying to give a bigger picture, slightly more truthful picture, and trying to engage in critical thinking. And that's something that Keir Starmer's not doing at all. He says that he's an anti-war activist himself. This is completely the opposite. To go against the Stop the War Coalition is absolutely detestable.
Yeah, now, speaking of absolutely detestable, Boris Johnson is also deep in trouble, isn't he? He has been sent documents by the police. It's called a questionnaire, but it's basically asking him to fess up and plead guilty to breaches of the lockdown rules, which are not serious crimes, but they are politically damaging, no doubt, and will be inflated in the media as politically damaging. They'll probably involve a £100 fine. Do you think that if that is the outcome of the police action, that it will trigger a leadership challenge against Boris Johnson?
Well, first and foremost, a questionnaire. A questionnaire, it doesn't take a legal expert to know that that's not exactly the right way to go about things in terms of the process, the legality process. I've never heard of somebody that is thought to have committed a crime be handed a questionnaire. If that was the process, we'd have so many more criminals walking on the streets. I mean, that's arguably contestable in itself. But still, this is a bizarre way to look at it. Now, if Boris Johnson is fined, if he is found guilty, you would think that it would be the time to walk the plank. But I would argue that that time has long come already. He should be out. He should have been out a long time ago, not just for these Partygate scandals. They are bad enough, but so much more. If we even look a few years back, proroguing Parliament, this sort of thing. He always finds himself above the law some way, shape or form. And Boris Johnson is now trying to sweep even more things under the carpet. I mean, he pretty much needs a cleaner to do all of this sweeping for him, or at least he needs to buy a bigger carpet.
Who would your money be on? Prime Minister Truss or Prime Minister Sunak or somebody we haven't heard of yet?
It's a difficult one. I think Priti Patel seems to be... I feel like she's got her eyes on that prize. She's not really been too much in the news as of late. She's always finding herself into controversy after controversy. But we do know that she's after it. Rishi Sunak, I don't know if he's got the guts for that, to be honest. But whoever it is, it's dark days to come.
Well, let's see what happens. Thanks very much for that, Shadia. Much appreciated.